nothing like a road trip to talk about a sailing trip. So I asked John the question, when do you leave the Caribbean to come back up the coast to get back to Canada? And so we're just discussing. John's got all the plans for going down. So what are your ideas?
The itinerary, as it were, going down, what I've done is done day by day by day. So basically, you don't have to, every night we can go into a harbor, tie up, anchor, and we'd be fine, rather than going offshore for a day or two. But that option is there. So I've done it, and it's, every day we stop in somewhere. But I think some of it we need to just make the decision of, do we say, well, when we're going down the coast of Maine, we want to stop in at Mount Desert, and places like that. We probably want to stop in at Portland, and we want to stop in at Boston and Rhode Island. I definitely want to go through New York. But beyond New York, once we're going down, we can stop in a couple of times going from New York down to the canal. So, the C&D canal, so, rather than stopping once or twice to get down through to the Chesapeake and Delaware, we can do an overnight and do it in one rather than do 2 or 3 days. So we can take that advantage to skip a few days. I do want to do parts of the inland waterway just because it's kind of cool, and experience that. Once we're down, there's certain areas where it gets quite shallow. Now our boat draws 5'6", which should be fine, but there's specific areas where we might want to go offshore for a day or two just to bypass.
Are there any limits on the inland waterway for mast height?
Yes, about 55, 65 feet. There's one that's down in Florida that's quite a bit lower.
What's ours?
Ours is 55, so we're good. I think it's 65 plus or minus tide, and I believe ours is 55, 66, so we're good. Again, one of the decisions on the boat purchase. So from that perspective, we can look at it and say if it takes 24 days to get down to Florida to the kickoff point to go to the Bahamas, if it's 23 days, well, we do a couple of overnights, cut a few places, it could be 15. So we've got some variance there.
You want to put a lot of time in for weather windows if you've got to hole up for a night or two.
Exactly.
But it'd be nice to sightsee on the way down, see places we haven't seen.
Well, that's part of why I've done it every day at those places, because a lot of the stops are historic places, right? So we probably do want to stop there. Anyway, and that's all part of it. It's not how fast can we get to the Caribbean. It's also that tour down. Going across to the Bahamas, once you get into the Bahamas and head down to Dominican and San Juan, the bigger challenge there is you are, for the most part, into the wind. You've got to pick your days, pick your wind. So it might take, what could be a day, it might take you 3 or 4 to get somewhere in the Bahamas. So those ones you just have to wing it. Now the thing I'm thinking of is we take our time doing all the things that we want to do, getting down to visit our brother-in-law in St. Croix with our boat.
My brother.
Our brother. Hence my brother-in-law. And, spend some time down there, the BVIs and the island chain all the way down. The thing is, coming back, we don't necessarily have to do the same trip back. Because in the back of my mind is, why don't we kick off at Antigua and head to Bermuda? And then Bermuda straight into the Bay of Fundy.
Holy shit.
Yeah, well, there are 5 or 6 day trips, but typically there's groups of people going at those times.
Yeah.
So you can go with others, there's others nearby. But I think once you get down there and experience, to do certain trips, it's going to be, regardless, there's going to be a night or two where you're offshore overnight. So you can pick up a friend or two that wants to go from Caribbean to Bermuda, I mean, even Bermuda, you could do Bermuda, Rhode Island if you wanted. You don't have to go to the Bay of Fundy. But it gives you options. But that way, rather than a month and a half or 2 down, you can come back in like 3 weeks.
Wow.
So it gives you options, right?
Yeah.
Lots of options. But I think the big thing is it's, although we'd love to come back for our summer timeline, we might not get back till August. It depends on the wind and waves, as it were. So, anyway, my thoughts. But a lot of it is part of the visiting is I want to stop and visit places.
Yeah. Sightsee.
Sightsee.
Experience the world.
Yes.
Or a small part of it. And here is where we didn't plan properly. So we arrived in Halifax yesterday and we had a lovely afternoon up in downtown Halifax. And now it's Sunday and we came out to Binnacle to go shopping for the boat, and it's closed on Sundays. Tomorrow is a family day holiday and it's closed. And we're going home tomorrow. Ah, well, best laid plans.
Yep.